Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is still out on assignment. We have none other than AD Drew. As we get ready, let me officially welcome you to episode 803 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions, large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetic, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studio and sending a signal live to Case-Ways 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Let's bring everybody on board. As I say, welcome. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational, consulting, and data analytics. With that being said, Drew, how are you doing today?
3 weeks and counting. 3 weeks left in my athletic season. And let me put the asterisk by that. I'm hoping for a fourth week because I'm hoping my baseball team does what they have the ability to do in the tournament and shock the world. But 3 weeks guaranteed left in my my athletic week. But you know, they know how to get the most out of you, because why do we have home spring football games on the same day that we have other home events without the staff?
I would never be able to give you a correct answer to that, but fascinating to hear. But with that being said, we need to give a little love for the movie star there. For those of the backstory, they know the inside of that. But we might get a cameo appearance of AD Drew here and there on a series to come shortly.
You're gonna at least see my work.
That's right, no doubt about it. In a rebranded stadium. That's all I'm gonna say. You did a heck of a job on the rebrand. Thanks for the pictures there. That
was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Yeah,
cool to see that. With that being said, Charles, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. Back from the SWAC golf tournament. So that was a tremendous time over there at Oxmoor Valley over there in Birmingham. But kudos to the winners over there, Arkansas Pine Bluff men's and the Prairie View women's teams. I saw Carol Keller mentioned it down there in the chat. So it was a tremendous experience. I got to give a huge shout out to Woodlawn Entertainment, the production crew, in terms of getting things set up over there for the first ever broadcast of the SWAC Golf Championship. So that was really historic to be a part of that.
So you so Jackson, you don't have any pictures of the Prairie View women's championship team?
I had to catch that flight on the way back to Houston so I could be back in class today. So my flight left before they crowned the champions. So,
okay, all right, that's the only reason I'm gonna let you make it.
Exactly.
You better had yourself in that class. I'd be getting
absolutely.
I've been getting in trouble on that one.
I saw HBCU band talk there in the chat, man. I wanted to shout out to a young lady that's going viral. I sent it to you, Doc, but she just had this look of amazement when she was listen to the
You really
Sonic
did. I was excited and amazed. I've seen that look one other time. One other time. I won't say who it is from, but it happened to be at a Celebration Bowl when Jackson State came out on the positive side not too long ago. But
kind of emotion.
He is
kind
a
of
dear
emotion.
friend of mine. I will say that. I won't say anything else, but he's a dear friend of mine. Yeah, I seen that look before, and I was like,
I know.
familiar. Oh, I know where I seen it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's old hat. You know, we didn't even lead off with it. I see somebody, lab listeners did, in terms of Bethune-Cookman.
That was going to be my story of the day.
Right. Usually we'd have pictures and stuff like that. I reached out to Coach Hernandez, and he's so ready for the next game that he's like, yeah, that's what we do. He didn't even respond. I'm like, all right, Coach, good job. Good job. With that being said, 80 Drew, let me let you lead off with it and do it further ado. Jump into it.
And this story comes from bcuathletics.com. This might be the first time I've actually gone to their website for anything, but just want to go ahead and get it straight from the source. Bethune-Cookman exploded for 7 runs in the 7th inning, crushing top 25, because we've seen them ranked as high as 7 and as low as 22, I think, depending
That's
on
correct.
which ranking that you look at. Anyway, they whooped that. They put B to A and beat the Gators 12-7 at Condren Family Ballpark, and that is what, 2 weeks in a row, y'all.
It's 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, and I've been to that ballpark. Very beautiful facility there at UF. I went there a couple of years ago when FAMU won the SWAC, and they had the regionals there at the University of Florida. Anyway, Bethune-Cookman, who's now 16-11, 12-3 in conference, came up with a big swing in the first. Let's get to the 7th. Let's get to the 7th inning though. The 7th inning is when they opened up a fresh can of whoop on those Gators. The Wildcats blew the game open to 7. Sacrifice bunt by Almonte forced an errant throw from the Florida pitcher, scoring 1 run. Jorge Rodriguez then came up with a big 2 RBI single to make it 8-5. Darrell Lee followed it up with the RBI single, and Andre Martinez snuck a double down the left field line to score 2 more runs. Michael Rodriguez capped off the dominant frame with another RBI hit to increase the lead to 12-5. UF would put 2 in the bottom of the 7th, and then the Cats would get one of those back when Lee came through with a solo shot for his 3rd RBI of the night. So shout out to Coach Hernandez. I kid because I care. I cheer. Take my Rattler card, y'all. I cheer for Bethune, except for when they play against FAMU. Other than that, they are a great representation of the Southwestern Athletic Conference and what baseball in this conference could be. I wish we had about 8-9 other teams to go along with them, because there are about 2 or 3 teams in the conference right now that can play that level of ball. We need the other 8 or 9 to be able to play at that level. I'm sorry, I was a little long-winded there, y'all.
No, that was a good report. Certainly important. Charles, what direction are you going?
Yeah, let's take a look at this as Birmingham is set to host the Southern Alabama State game at Legion Field. This comes to us from SWAC.org. The city of Birmingham is set to host a marquee football matchup at historic Legion Field during this 2026 season, following approval from the Birmingham City Council. The event will feature a highly anticipated clash between Southern Jaguars and Alabama State Hornets on Saturday, August 29th. So Birmingham Mayor Randall Woodfin, he expressed appreciation for the council's support, noting the city's continued rise as a destination for major sporting events. He also emphasized that hosting this game represents a significant achievement, not only for Birmingham, but also for Southern University and Alabama State University. So Southern and Alabama State set to kick it off in Birmingham.
I like that. That's good information. This takes us back. We literally can say this year's in the making. Remember, there was the talk of the SWAC bowl game. We kind of seen that with Las Vegas that ended up going really well a couple of years ago. Now, where it seems to had started from, at least the framework of what that looks like, is Birmingham, and we have us a game. Southern Alabama State at Legion Field should be tremendous with the support of the city and the sports authority commission, if you would, from Birmingham. Big deal. Obviously, debuting Marshall Falk, coach of Southern. Should be fascinating to see. And then folks looking at Alabama State, and quarterback one is back.
Quarterback one is back.
So it should be interesting to see in terms of a jump-off game. You get some litmus tests on both those teams, one out of the West Division, one out of the East Division. Fascinating to see where that goes for a primetime matchup in week number 1. With that being said, let me go back to you, Drew. Some other things you want to add that's kind of hot on your mind?
Yeah, as soon as I find my script again, I just lost my script. There we go. Let's see. You hit that. I don't know how to feel about this one, everybody, but
I think I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going. Quad Brown, the fourth. Where Quad Brown the fourth got the 4th times 2 years of eligibility with his 8th year of eligibility. And now we know he was QB1 to start the season. He got injured. This one kind of gets me with that. It came in week 6 last year. Usually after 4 weeks, you've exhausted a season. So
true, but the nuances is he didn't play like those 3 weeks before. Wasn't that his first game back after being out like 3 weeks?
Something like that.
There is some nuance in there that probably allowed,
because it was his 4th game.
Season seems so much, but we also got to remember that this is really the very end of the COVID. It's hard for a lot of people to really understand that there was an automatic year for COVID. So you throw that in there. And I agree with you. For a lot of folks, you just like, all right, go do the thing. If his season ended differently, I probably would be a little more maybe like, what are we doing? But since it was such a tragic injury, I'm not that upset about it. Young man, certainly probably the highest level he's going to get to play. So hopefully he gets a chance to, finish out the season. But that may be a challenge as well in terms of where he's ended up. Yeah. So we have a couple of quarterbacks out there that are fighting that injury bug to see if they can finish the season, and both of them in the state of Alabama.
Both of them in Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of give you a backdrop, obviously we know the NCAA allows hardship for when you have injuries that require season-ending surgery. Just to give you his resume, Georgia State, UT Martin, Alabama A&M. So Georgia State in 2020, where he threw for over 2,000 yards and 24 touchdowns. And here we go. Last thing, A&M's roster officially lists him as a grad student. I'm gonna let y'all insert joke there.
Yeah, I mean, but he could be a grad student working on a doctorate. I mean, he could,
like I said,
that's what I love to hear. He got a master's or 2, starting the doctoral program. I would be like, go Brown. That's how you make the most of those extra years. Stack those degrees up.
And he's a heck of a golfer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's stories like this are probably going away with the new 5-year rule that the NCAA is proposing. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works, but I'm sure that they're going to have some medical things in there, so it still might extend it. But
right now, medical is out with the
if they go to 5 years, which is similar to what they did in NIA. They did it first. But it's going to be fascinating, but it's going to be some folks that are going to figure out they're not going to be good with themselves. They're going to find a way to kind of squeeze in a medical somewhere. Yeah. That's why I'm saying
Because
I don't believe that it's going to finish like that.
yeah, because right now I think it's
No,
pregnancy,
you're right.
missions, and
It's just
military
random.
service are the only 3 exceptions to that 5-year under the current legislation.
It'll be interesting. Then it still doesn't mean that the courts won't sue them. Charles,
Stop it.
any final thoughts you got before we take this first break?
Yeah, as mentioned, talking about golf purviews, Chivalry's Not Dead purviews. Women, they claim the SWAC Golf's Women's Championship as Purview captured the team title at the 2026 SWAC Women's Golf Championship during the final round at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail at Oxmoor Valley Ridge. As Purview, they finished with a 3-round total of 940, secured the championship after posting rounds of 317, 317, and 306. Texas Southern, they placed second, while Alabama State was third. Jackson State and Southern and Bethune-Cookman, they round things out. Individually, Carmen Fletcher claimed the low medalist honor after winning a playoff against Purview's Casey Mignoli. So Carmen Fletcher from Alabama State, she was the low medalist. So kudos to those young ladies, to Purview for capturing Dawkins. Y'all collecting championships over there right now.
Yeah, say that with a smile. Say that with a smile.
Y'all trying to win the Commissioner's Cup or something?
Yeah, we're aiming for it. It's been a minute, so I think it needs to come back. As I told everybody,
Alabama State, the owner,
Prairie was one of the original founders of the conference. 5 members, for those that are not sure about the history, it's 5 members. The 6th one joined 2 years later in 2022. I mean, in 1922, to be exact. But I have more information where that's coming from for those that are like stunned and figuring it out, but just teasing something out there. But Prairie View, has dominated in the past. I know some of y'all are not keen about your history. Y'all think history started yesterday when you joined the conference, but Prairie View is just going back to the top. It's your daddy's Prairie View. just say it. Just say it.
Prairie View, the granddaddy of the SWAC.
Exactly.
The great granddaddy of the
I'll
SWAC.
put that on the Yeah, see, Charles, I told you, leave it alone now.
Right.
Out of where you were now, you go get yourself in trouble. But Edwin put on there that he wrote a book, 20 years at APR.
No, that was Crook.
Crook. I'm sorry, Crook. Adrian Crook. Let me get it correct. Are you serious that you wrote the book, or is that a joke?
It's a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, send me the book. I would go read it. I love to read. But it sure has been 20 years, and it's been something to think about. With that being said, let's take our first break and come back on the other side as Crook is over there fooling April Fools on everybody on the 16th of April. With that being said, we'll be right back after this first break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically Black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Cobb salad? Oh yeah, need that for this hot day today. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for serving Zaxby's. Here as Morehouse Athletic, serving the community with Zaxby's.
That was pretty cool when you shared that with us, and I'm glad you shared it with those that may not have caught it. That is how you really marketing those for the sports studies individuals out there. That's the stuff that I go on with the class and talking about how you really create a partnership with individuals that support you, double down, and not just because you want more, but it's a way to be reciprocal, and you ultimately create a authentic type of relationship where folks will support you even more. So glad you shared that out there. Need to get some other folks to show some of those authentic relationships they have in different ways. And I know they do it for their sponsors with ways that are important to them, but that's certainly one good way to show it there. With that being said, let's get back into the sports part of this. Let's pull up the poll rankings. We're going to do mid-major baseball today. We'll start with the mid-major ranking polls, if you would. Dropping out this week, not a lot of changes in the mid-major poll rankings. In fact, no one dropped out. So all the teams that were in the top five are in the top five. We do have some changes in terms of the lineup. We'll see what you think on that. Some of that was due to some head-to-head matchups. But let's see receiving votes. We have a couple of more receiving votes that were posted that got over the 20 mark. So added those. You know, Morehouse Maroon Tigers that dropped out last week, they're still pushing their weight right there. 19-15, 15-10 with 29 points. So they're at the top of those receiving votes. Looking up at those top five, you'll see also out of the SIEC, the Benedict Tigers sit at 16-10, 14-10 with 25 points, punching their way up as well. And we have two NIA programs out of the HBCU AC, which is Wiley Wildcats, sit at 20-16. They've gotten to 20 wins, 12-6 with 21 points. You have Stillman Tigers right there at 19-13, 19 wins there, 13-3 in the conference race with 20 points. So those are your teams that are outside looking in. Let's get into the top five and see what we have here. In the top five, we have Edward Water Tigers sitting at 22-19, 18-9, 32 points. They were ranked 4, so they do slide. And they slide because number 4, the Savannah State Tigers, they had the head-to-head matchup. Savannah State went 2 of 3 in that series this past weekend, 22-19, 20-17, I should say. 17-10 is their record, 33 points. They were ranked 5, so because of winning the series, they slide up a spot, which brings us to number 3, which is going to take us out of the SIEC, but into the HBCU AC with the NAIA program, Houston Tillerson Rams. Out of Texas, 25-16, 13-5. They received 2 first-place votes. Some people think they should be at the top of the poll rankings with 59 points. They remain in the 3 spot in terms of the total points, however. Then we go into number 2, Talladega Tornadoes. They sit at 25-15, 16-1. 2 first-place votes, 61 points. They remain in 2 spot. Another program out of the HBCU AC, Talladega. Interesting matchup. You know, last year we were waiting on a matchup between the East and West divisions, with Talladega being one of them. I wonder this year, though, can we get that matchup this year? It looks like Houston Tillerson is the team that is punching above their weight. We'll see. Last year we couldn't get it between the top 2 teams in the division alignment. Can we get it this year? Regardless, the number 1 team continues to be Albany State Golden Rams. It lost some points over the week, but they still sit there at the number 1 spot, 22-14, 18-6 is what they've done this year so far. They have 3 first-place votes, so there's not a large distance between 2 and 3 in terms of number of first-place votes. A little bit more in the point margin there. 1 first place. They remain in the first place. With that being said, Albany State Golden Rams remain at the top of the poll in week 5. I'm going to go with you first, AD Drew. What are your thoughts in terms of the mid-major division top 5 poll rankings?
I demand a recount. And I'm going to tell you why I demand that recount, Dr. Cavil.
I'm listening.
All right. Whenever you have 2 teams back-to-back in your poll, and one team has the season advantage, I think those teams, that should be strong consideration for moving that team ahead of the other team, but they sit back-to-back. Right now, Everwater sits 5. Morehouse sits 6. Morehouse took 2 out of 3 against Edward Waters. I demand a recount. So I just want to put that one in there. Yes, not only am I'm doing my SIAC butter, but I'm doing my Morehouse bread on that one. So the Albany State Benedict series was canceled last week. So right. we didn't get a chance to see what happened with that one. And you brought up last year, Dr. Cavil. Can we get the HBCU AC championship game without the semifinal having to go extra innings so that the other team in the final had some pitching left?
Yeah, ran out of pitching.
Out of pitching. That was the worst championship game I think I have ever seen in my life.
It was tough to watch.
That was unbearable to watch last year. So I don't care who the 2 teams is from the East and West. I care, but I don't care. But for this purpose, I just want a competitive matchup, not another 25-1 like we had last year.
To your point, AD, what did Morehouse do this past weekend?
Swept Clark.
They did take 3.
Now, a football game did break out on Sunday with the final score of 17-14. But
hey, they got the win.
The good guys won.
Yep. Charles, you have any rebuttal for AD Drew? Are you in line with his thoughts? What direction are you going when you break down your top 5 in week number 5?
Actually, I had a question for AD because Spring Hill comes in this weekend. You know, how big would that be for Morehouse in terms of momentum going into the SIAC tournament? Is it possible for them to get 2 or 3 against Spring Hill?
I'm gonna go back to a conversation that we kind of had internally, kind of off the record. You know how you talk shop around the athletic department. When we were looking 2 weeks ago, we had Albany State and Spring Hill coming up, 2 of our Final Four series, conference series. We said that for us to really be what we need to be at, we needed to take 2 out of 3 against one of those opponents, and at least 1 out of 3 against the other opponent. We could not afford to we could not get swept by either one. Well, We took the opener against Albany State. They got the final 2. So now that puts that pressure on the team to see if we can get the 2 out of 3 against Spring Hill in order for us to do what we need to do. Obviously, in the midst of that, we said we needed to sweep Clark Atlanta, which we did. We've got Kentucky State to finish out the season. We need to take those 3. Yeah. So that is good. And it's all about jockeying for positioning. We're in. Morehouse is in. It's a matter of where we are going to be in at, based on the matchups. There are some teams, just like in any sport, there are some teams that you match up better with. So you're hoping to get that. But is Spring Hill beatable? Yes, it is. Do we have what it takes to beat Spring Hill? Yes, we do. Do we have to play our A game though? Those ones that we have to do it. Absolutely. We definitely have to play our A game and not give them any extra outs. Not a bunch of HBPs and a bunch of walks. Make them earn their way around the bases. So we shall see. Tomorrow, Saturday is Senior Day. Hopefully that'll be a little bit of motivation. We've got 11 that will be playing their last conference series at home. So maybe that'll be some motivation with the crowd that's going to be there with our Hall of Fame and Senior Day going on during this weekend. So, we're pulling out all the stops to try to get them. We're gonna hope that we get this team something to think about come tournament time. And do I want to say this out loud? What the heck? They leaving the conference anyway. We don't want them to win, take nothing when they move out the conference. We don't want them to take nothing. Leave all my stuff right there, including all my trophies.
I heard that.
I like the poll, Doc.
I appreciate it. Good updates with that. We'll take our next break and come on the other side. We'll go to the major division and see if we can get 80 Drew to appreciate the major division and Charles to continue to be alive. We'll see that right after the break as these folks are having a good time in the chat session. Keep going. Let's go, lab listeners. We'll be right back after this next break. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. as we get rolling, let's pull up the major division poll rankings and go ahead and jump into what happened at the major division level. We did have a team that fell out. That was Grambling State Tigers, who were playing some really good baseball just a couple of weeks ago. How the terms tied, took a stumble, but was still in the mix. But this past weekend, they met up with their arch rivals at home, no less. While all the games were competitive, neither of them came out the way that the Grambling State Tigers, as they like to say in that part, the G-men would like to have it. So, but that goes to spoil sometimes. Let's look at those receiving votes in the mix here. Top 3 programs receiving votes, starting with Southern Jaguars, 8-7, 61 points in terms of what they get going there. And then you have Norfolk State Spartans at 9-9. In terms of having a tough weekend, they were in the top 5 just a week ago and falling on hard times after losing 3. Grambling State Tigers, they are still in the mix, 8-7 at 52 points. Look to see what they have going on this weekend. We'll talk about that in the last segment. But with that being said, let's get to the top 5 teams in week number 5 for the HBCU Major Division Baseball Poll Rankings. Starting with number 5, Alabama State Hornets are back. 8-7-64 after a tremendous weekend. They find their way in the top 5. I got it done with a big series for them. At number 4, UAPB Golden Lions, they find a way to continue to stick around. In fact, they move up a spot from 5 last weekend. They're 10-5 with 74 points, playing some good baseball this year. At number 3, one of those top teams across the board is Texas Southern Tigers. They sit at 12-3. They do have one first-place vote, 81 points. They drop a spot, though, for number 2 as the Florida A&M Rattlers, 2-3, 2 first-place votes, 82 points, jumped them. Both teams went 2-3 this weekend, along with the number 1 team, which is the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats at 12-3, 6 first-place votes, 84 points, 1 first-place votes. This record is before the victory last week, would have some folks take away some first-place votes from other teams. But, however, in the conference standing, they are 12-3, along with FAMU, Texas Southern. One of those weird weekends, I kind of said this a couple of weeks ago, Charles, if you remember, before we started doing the poll, I was calculating myself as we were in the basketball and doing those poll rankings, but we had matchups that faced the East versus the West. And the West teams won game 1, and then subsequently, though, there was a need to play Saturday and Sunday, and they did, and the games went to the East. But similarly, although it wasn't an East-West type of thing, you had some matchups in these games where you had all of these teams lost their first game. The top 3 teams I'm talking about that are even in the SWAC race. Then they come back and bounce back and get 2. Figured probably one of the shockers was Bethune-Cookman to Valley, but with them taking out Florida, I don't know if that says more about Valley than it says about Bethune-Cookman. Then you had a FAMU Jackson State matchup that I got to watch because it was on SWAC TV, which is over 2 million, believe, views or something like that, something out of this world. But with that being said, they come back, get some walk-offs themselves after losing a walk-off to Jackson State. And then they had an inning that just is a nightmarish inning if you're a Jackson State Tigers fan, 6th, 7th inning where they Rattlers put up, what did I say, 14 points?
It was 14. It was 14.
14 runs, not sure what you Charles. You were doing your work and calling the Texas Southern game where they hit a grand slam themselves just like the Rattlers in that matchup. So a couple of grand slams, people were fattening up the RBI for these top teams. Boy, they are hitting the cover off the ball, and you put ducks on the pond for them, they're going to make you pay with that too.
Big time.
They can go yard at any time, and they love adding up the RBI. With that being said, let me go with you first, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 5? Any consternation from your perspective?
No, I think these are the top 5 teams in terms of the major poll. Definitely, when you take a look at Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, and Texas Southern, they stand out. They stand out above everybody. Huge weekend, I think, when you especially take a look at this Texas Southern UAPB matchup. in Pine Bluff this weekend. I'm particularly interested in Valley at Florida A&M and Alabama State at Jackson State. Dr. Cavil,
That's good because I'm going to have you go a little deeper in those matchups and that. I'm glad you did that as a tease to put.
Yeah, how many teams go to the tournament?
8.
Okay, top 8 teams.
Top 8. Yeah, they
right.
hadn't changed that for baseball. Baseball is like doubleheader. We're not doing all that. Top 8. Y'all figured it out.
Top 8 go, huh?
Yeah, so it's curious when you look at that, and we'll pull out the full standing in the next segment so you can get a little indication of, who's fighting maybe to get into. A couple of teams are pretty much out, maybe 2, 3 teams, but some teams maybe have a little ability to fight that were in there. But it's interesting that Mendoza line for the baseball tournament is 8. That being said, AD Drew, what's your thoughts? And update us on SIAC. How many teams go to their tournament?
8 also.
Okay.
Yeah. Brian Fulford, are you still going to pull my Rattler card because I'm on the Bethune-Cookman bandwagon? I just got to ask, man. Top 25 victories over SEC teams. I mean, hell. I hope y'all can't blame me, Rattlers, because
no, he was the main one in our message board that's asking all these questions. He's all excited, but in public, he can't put that out there. But I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him.
What the king snake can't put it out there like that?
No.
Yeah.
He get in trouble on his ONG strike zone. Great show, by the way, Brian, last night. And for those that are in all this talk about the APR, they did a really good job to open things up, break it down, and give a lot of different perspectives on it. So,
along with Vaughn Wilson,
get a chance, with Vaughn Wilson of HBCU Game Day and an independent columnist and specialist in terms of the journalism craft. He certainly came in there, and he was not humble in terms of his thoughts. He told it like it is. I thought it was AD Drew that snuck in there the way he was talking about his thoughts on everything. But with that being said, in all seriousness, those that have not watched ONG Strike Zone, really good information. Check it out. Obviously, our independent inside the HBCU Sports Lab as well on Wednesdays before ONG. Drew, break it down. Where are you? Finish your thought.
Top 3, top 4, no problem. Right now, don't have a problem with Alabama State, considering what Grambling State did this weekend. This is what's interesting. We're exactly at the midway point for the conference season. So you are who you are now, pretty much. The good teams have established themselves as the good teams. The mid-level teams tend to be there, and the bottom teams, well, they're the bottom feeders and everything. Valley, I talked all that crap about Valley, but Valley, after Bethune, fresh off their victory against LSU, took game 1 against Valley, y'all. So Valley, you got my respect now. I want Coach Hernandez. Don't let Valley do you like they do FAMU. He didn't quite get all of it. He got 2 out of 3, but but seriously, shout out to Valley. Valley coming in, being a player, really makes it interesting. Nice to see something a little bit different, potentially in the SWAC tournament. Yeah,
I was impressed by them. They hit the ball really well.
Go ahead, Charles.
I just to follow up on what you're saying about Valley. I mean, they aren't a pushover. I mean, they still have work to do with regards to pitching, as does everybody. But I mean, they had some really quality at bats when I saw them against Texas Southern, and they were a tough, formidable team taking on Texas Southern. It's just Texas Southern, they're beating the cover off the ball right now. But I was really impressed by looking at Valley, and they had a couple of really sparkling defensive plays out there as well. So, if you put it all together, as we've seen now with Valley against Bethune-Cookman, we saw it this past week with Alcorn taking a game against Texas Southern. You can put it together in fits and spurts. You look pretty good.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna read it.
Doc, everybody on this show who watches the show can read. We let them read that one.
Right. I'm not even gonna voice. I'm gonna let folks read that on their own. Because if they're like us, they just laugh and drop their head. Anyway, let's take our next break so we can finish this conversation and laugh off air with Brian's comments. We'll be right back.
Doc, I gotta go. Write my apology email right quick during this break.
Yeah, around the probation. Yeah, Kelvin. He while he talking about probation, he wasn't too kind himself. Kelvin Rozier, you gave a little truth serum yourself, but I guess you do it on the front end of the show. As you get back into the show, you change up, and they gave some really good information. They had old Charlie Ward on there giving a basketball report, did a good job challenging the Rattlers out there in terms of supporting him. I wonder how he did this morning in terms of the support he was asking for. With that, we'll be right back after this last break.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
And what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay? That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
Right? I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. To right. Might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
We're gonna go straight to 80 Drew, because we have breaking news on a coaching job.
Yes, we do. Well, not a coaching job, but a coaching vacancy. And this comes from Live for Hoops, Liv Antilla, you know, who can we compare her to? Because she be breaking news all over the place when it comes to hoops.
She's our own. We just gonna call her Live HBCU. Basketball. She bringing.
Anyway, thanks, Liv. Chris Vincent, who is was the head women's basketball coach at Langston, has resigned to become the women's basketball coach at Purdue Northwestern, which is a Division II institution, in two seasons at LSU, at Langston University. He had an overall record of 55-9, back-to-back SAC regular championships, 2 national tournament appearances, and was nationally ranked in both those seasons. So AD Danita Rogers has a lot of work to do. She's got not one great coach to replace, but she's got 2 great coaches to replace. Replacing 2 coaches at the same time is always challenging, but when you try to replace 2 coaches with those resumes walking out the door, makes it double challenging for those people as the administrator. Thank you, Chuck. There she is. She's our Adam Scheffler. That's it. That's who I was looking for.
Yeah. With that being said, I will say this about Langston. This is the second time they had to replace a women's basketball coach in recent years. They did it previously too. And they've had a lot of success on the women's side in terms of basketball. So this is nothing new, including the AD, who was a great basketball coach herself at Langston before she left and took the Grambling job for coming back as the AD, get it done. So if anybody can get it right, it's AD down there at Langston in terms of Danita getting it done. I would say this also, because of what the last 2 coaches have done, there are going to be a lot of good pool of coaches that have an interest, because now they know
you can win.
And I'm going to get the resources at Langston, and I have the ability to win. And if I win, there's a chance that I can move up and coach at a different level, which in general, the coaching cycles and circles, if you would, that's a good position to be in. I'd rather be replacing coaches because they're winning than having to firing coaches and replacing them because I'm trying to find the right coach.
Are there any coaches like in the pipeline, or that would be tailor made for that Langston job?
Head coaches somewhere. I'd have to think about that one, because
I think you got similar to what happened with the Langston. They pulled from the HBCU AC. You have Tougaloo.
Yeah.
Right. I think you need to look at him in terms of what he's able to do, which we know he has had research. Coach Struthers, they've had what? 2 scholarships, 3 scholarships. The year that he had multiple scholarships, if it wasn't for Langston, a lot of folks would have been looking at him at Tougaloo in terms of what they were doing there, because he went to the Sweet 16. And then the next year, instead of them doubling down, because I guess financially things got tough over there, they actually pulled some of the scholarships. So to me, he's somebody that goes to Langston with the support they're giving. You would imagine that he's going to do even more than he's doing at Tougaloo. So to me, that's one that jumps out at me. What you got, Drew?
I was going to say what makes it interesting about Coach Vincent. Coach Vincent was on Chris Wright's staff at Talladega on the men's side. Then, and I believe the first Final Four that they went to, their first, the one I know he was with the Final Four with Talladega, and I think the first one at Langston, he was also on the men's side until Coach Harrod left, and then he flipped over to the women's side after Kevin Harrod left.
Great nugget
Memorial, and Harrod has now left Florida Memorial and has gone to Allen.
That's another one that you have to look at to me. But he just left Allen's. I mean, he just left Florida Memorial to go to Allen. We've seen stranger things. But yeah, I think those are some of the immediate ones that come to mind. But hate to do that for those fans over there in the HBCU AC. They like leave our coaches alone. But I'd imagine that's one area you go. You also look at some strong Division I assistant coaches that have maybe had a stint at the Division II or NAIA level before.
But if you're a Division I coach, would you actually go to NAIA versus going to
I
a
think that's a
Division
good
II
question.
school?
I think it matters how that person sees themselves of how close they are to getting a Division I job as the head coach. The challenge that I always try to tell coaches as I consult with them is they need to look at the lay of the land. Right now, this cycle is not really hiring a lot of assistant coaches. You see Jackson State that did it, but that was a little unique because you have somebody
that was a promotion,
true and tried to Jackson State that's been there a while, kind of groomed his way. He's going to get his opportunity. And that's kind of the family tree of what Jackson State and Ashley Robinson, to his credit, are doing. They had success doing it with TC Taylor. So now you push it over to the other sport and see if you can hit that same type of diamond. But across the board, you really haven't seen a lot of assistant coaches getting the nod. You've seen more head coach experience getting the nod. So it's always a chance, and you never know what is the right opportunity and right pieces of puzzle. But if you have that desire to be a head coach and you don't see yourself being any real closer in terms of not getting hired in this cycle or in the previous cycle, you might say, hey, I want to be a head coach. I know I likely can have success at Langston. I'll go do that, and then I'll put myself back in the marketplace because I have seen that somebody out of Langston goes deep, that they're going to get a call. And you know anything about the league, it's a copycat league. So let Chris Wright have some success. People are going to start looking and saying, hey, maybe I need to go get a Division II coach or an NIA coach, even more so, that has had success over a short period of time. So great question, great response to you, AD Drew. You're right in terms of, and I think that's the question that coaches are asking themselves, to be frank. Should I make this leap? And some of them are going to be like, no, I want to be at the Division I level. I'll stay here and take my chances. Other ones will say, no, I want to be a head coach. I'm going to take my chance wherever I get it. With that being said, let's go over the standings overall for the SWAC. You kind of seen that in the top 5 with a lot of people out of the SWAC being there. So I'm going to start at the bottom so we can get that Mendoza line of the 8, Charles, that you asked about.
Yeah.
The 4 outside the top 8 right now. Alcorn State sitting at 2-13. And they're tied with Alabama A&M that's also 2-13. They have lost 3 and 4 respectively. You have Prairie View that's 3-12, and they've lost 2 straight. And then you have Jackson State sitting at 6-9. So they have a chance to get out of that 4 because Valley is just 1 game ahead of them at 7-8. And those 2 teams have lost 2 and 3 respectively in terms of what they've done at late. So interesting when you think about what that looks like. The 4 in the middle, if you would, or Valley 7-8, and 3-way tie with Grambling State, Southern Alabama State, all at 8-7. Drew. Then you have the top 4, Arkansas Pine Bluff at 10-5. Then you have a 3-way tie for first, which has been the deal over the last couple of weeks. So they have solidly put themselves there. So down the stretch, it's going to be a fascinating race to see who closes out at 8 if we don't get anything changed over the next couple of weeks, and find out who has been able to close out the top of the conference being number 1. You have 3 teams sitting at 12-3, FAMU, Texas Southern, and Bethune-Cookman, with Bethune-Cookman being the 100-pound gorilla based on what they've been able to do in their non-conference and outpacing everybody almost by 10 wins. They sit at 26-11, while Texas Southern and FAMU sit at 17 wins apiece. But Texas Southern is at 17-11, while FAMU is at 17-17. With that being said, let's look at some of these matchups and get your thoughts on that. Before we do that, let me ask you this, Charles. Those 3 teams at the top, outside of Bethune-Cookman, because I think that's the obvious answer, who maybe can find a way to pull themselves away at some point. FAMU or Texas Southern, which is the team that can keep pace with Bethune-Cookman if we're correct with our expectation that they're going to at least stay in that top spot or near it. Of the two, Texas Southern, FAMU, which way are you looking and why?
That's a tough question.
That's
I think I think the Achilles heel of either is getting to the bullpen. I think Texas Southern has some decent pitching. When you take a look at their frontline starters, especially Justin May had a tough outing, had a shakeout in this past game against Alcorn. But for the most part, you know that Texas Southern is going to hit the baseball. And I think Florida A&M is kind of the same way. I would give a slight edge to Florida A&M just from knowing kind of where the Achilles heel parts are with regards to Texas Southern. If you can get to their pitching, but the reality of the matter is, I don't like Texas Southern can chase you down. They hit the ball that well. They can be down 5, 6. 4, 5, 6 runs or whatever, and they can put big innings together. They string together big innings, and their top 6 hitters are some of the best in the league. If I'm not mistaken, they got 3 guys. I think they're 3, 4, and 6 hitters in the lineup are like in the top 5 in hitting in the SWAC. So they really up and down the lineup are really good. And all you ask for some of those guys toward the bottom part of the lineup, figure out a way to get on base, look at some balls, whatever the case might be. You get back around to the top of the order, it's scary.
Great points made. AD Drew, same test question. We're literally halfway there with 15 games played. We got 15 more to go, which means we have 5 series left. Between FAMU, this is a chance for you to get your card back, in Texas Southern. Charles played his card right. What are your thoughts in all seriousness? Which one of these teams can keep pace if we're true to it, and Bethune-Cookman is the one to keep pace with?
I've always been that old baseball saying, good pitching beats good hitting every time.
Yep.
We know Texas Southern can hit the cover off the ball. No doubt about that. FAMU, right there in the middle of the road, number 6 in batting average. But what I find interesting when I use that analogy, good pitching beats good hitting, FAMU 3, Texas Southern 4 in ERA. But when you go inside that number, FAMU's ERA is over 1 run better than Texas Southern. While Texas Southern may edge out a game or 2 in the regular season, I think come tournament time, FAMU's pitching and depth is going to help them out a little bit more when it comes down to crunch time.
Good stuff. Let me go to the games this weekend, and then we'll call it a show. I'll give you some highlights on some players to continue to watch as we break down some of these matchups in terms of this weekend. We start with Texas Southern and Arkansas Pine Bluff. 3 o'clock game starts on this Saturday. It's fascinating to kind of see what you have there. You have Texas Southern, has the top 3 of the top 5 batting averages with these 3 guys all over 400.
All over 400, yeah.
Jonathan Trejo at 415, Miguel Morales at 417, and Brian Robinson at 427, hitting the cover off the ball. Pine Bluff does it by a team. They don't have anybody necessarily in the top 5 other than what they do in terms of ERA, which is Ryland Moore.
Yeah.
So I think that's some key matchups when they kind of line up in terms of what that looks like. Yeah, Brian Robinson in terms of those 9 home runs. And then they can play a little speedball too and tease you and mess you hitting the head. In terms of getting her out the baseball, you have Zachary Pace in terms of what he's doing, top 5 at 13 stolen bases. Any comments in terms of that matchup with Texas Southern and Pine Bluff? Charles?
No, I think that's going to be a heck of a series. I think Pine Bluff has become one of the upstarts in the league, and you see them making that push this season. And this is one of those pivotal series where it can really spin heads around the conference if they're able to get 2 or 3 against Texas Southern. But from what I've seen from Texas Southern, it's just going to be hard to keep that lineup down. So I'm going to go with Texas Southern at least taking 2 or 3 in that series.
You teased this out a little bit earlier, AD Drew, with Mississippi Valley at FAMU. So it'll be interesting what your thoughts are in terms of this matchup. You have wins in terms of Caleb Granger, which you talked about pitching, could beat those offense. Well, you do have a pitcher with 5 wins for FAMU. You don't have Valley necessarily in the top 5, but we've seen what they've been able to just play some really good team baseball and get it done. Also, in terms of strikeouts, you have Caleb Granger in the top 5, sitting in the 5 spot with 47 strikeouts, right behind Edwin Sanchez with 48. What are your thoughts in terms of the matchup with Valley and FAMU?
FAMU, you saw what Valley did last week to Bethune after they had their highlight victory. Beware. Not only is it Valley, I don't know if Valley's becoming a new rival to Florida A&M because they are doing things to Florida A&M that they should not be doing to Florida A&M.
Yes.
But yeah. But this also is an opportunity for Valley to once again earn the respect of people like me in the media. They got a little bit of respect last week by getting one against Bethune. Should Valley get 1 or 2 against Florida A&M, once again, the respect card definitely goes towards them. But I want to hold on Florida A&M for just a second, Dr. Cavil. And since we the media, we can look forward. Coaches can't look forward. We can look forward.
True.
Florida A&M. We talk about them staying pace at the top. Next week, Florida A&M Bethune. So talk about can they do it?
Yeah,
Florida
they need
A&M
to keep pace to make that series even more interesting.
In Tallahassee, and
only
to end
matchup
the season, Texas Southern, FAMU to end the season. What's the location of that one?
That's gonna be in Tallahassee.
Those so FAMU with their 2 biggest series,
they have an edge there. That's a good point.
Home in Tallahassee. So the schedule guys. I don't know if the schedule guys what kind of lottery tickets they had, but I don't think they could have asked for a better series to end the SWAC season should these 2 teams continue at the pace they are, than to have Texas Southern and FAMU face off against each other the last weekend of the season.
No, and to your point, AD, and just taking a look at that Mendoza line of Valley, Jackson State, 7-8 right there. Jackson State looking forward in terms of their schedule, the remainder of the season. After Alabama State this upcoming weekend, they go to Alabama A&M. They have Alcorn at home. Then they go to Mississippi Valley. So they played the toughest part of their schedule here in the early part of the season.
Yeah, that's a good thing to watch to see can they all of a sudden get right after playing some of those tough games in terms of teams at the top of the standing early on. With that being said, we'll roll through this. We got Southern at Alcorn. I won't ask you to break that down, but I do want to give some of the players to keep your eyes on. You have KJ White Jr. batting .381 in terms of batting average for the Southern Jaguars. And then they have a couple of speed demons that are tied in terms of taking bases from folks. That's Jacoby Ratcliffe at 21, as well as KJ White Jr. that we know gets on base with the batting average. Well, he'll take some from you as well. Something to keep your eyes there. They can pitch a little bit, at least of late. They got Bobby Spencer that's found a way to get 5 wins, and he has 58 strikeouts. So he leads the conference in terms of strikeouts as number 1 with 58. Another matchup, if you would, to keep your eyes on as we're going through that is Prairie View at Grambling. Grambling wants to get right. Prairie View's trying to find a way. Can we get a win since Grambling is down maybe? Grambling's always a tough place to play, though, particularly coming off a tough series. You imagine that they're going to be pretty focused and ready to play. So I don't know if it's a good time for Prairie View to get out there. When you talk about Grambling, usually they have somebody that can hit the ball where they have Charles Ash III is second in the conference with 8 home runs. So
tremendous freshman.
He can mash it a little bit there. Then you have Alabama State that had the get right game, which is another feature matchup. So I'll ask you about this one, Charles. That's Alabama State and Jackson State in terms of this matchup. You look at some of those key players you talk about in terms of home runs. You have Jackson Williams of Alabama State that can put the power in the ball. He has 6 home runs, so he's in that 5th spot, if you would. Jorhan LeBoy with wins with 5. ERA, Camden Matthews with 3.89 in terms of what he gets it done. So, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this Jackson Alabama State series?
This has to be a big weekend for Jackson State in terms of they got to get some good starting pitching. I think that's going to be huge with regards to Jackson State taking on a pitcher like Johan LeBoy. I mean, he's one of the better pitchers in the SWAC, as well as Camden Matthews. So how do you match up against Alabama State's pitching? I think that's going to be huge. But Jackson State, they need to start. They need to put their foot on the gas starting this weekend in terms of trying to get some strengths and wins together and get themselves back into position in the SWAC tournament.
Particularly, you talking about from the confidence side. If you can play well, get a couple of these, as you said, schedule-wise, you should feel really good about yourself, and you want that going into some games, at least in terms of what we would think that they can get. So that's a great point. If you can do this, particularly being at home, it bodes well going down the stretch.
Yeah.
I'll close with you, 80 Drew, on this. Alabama A&M, Bethune-Cookman. I don't think there's anything there, but any final thoughts on that in terms of Bethune-Cookman? Wins is Edwin Sanchez with 7. Edwin Sanchez also has the ERA leading the conference with 2.12. Stolen bases, Sergio Rivera with 15. Edwin Sanchez with strikeouts also with 48. Abreu has a 4.2, so they have 2 players top 5 in terms of ERA. While they've had timely hitting and hit the ball, they don't have anybody leading in the top 5 spot, but they have a group of folks further down to get it done. Any thoughts that Alabama A&M could even find a way to get one in this match?
Dr. Cavil, it's baseball. Yes, Alabama A&M could find a way to get one. What has to happen is Coach Hernandez has to make sure that his guys come in and remain grounded.
That's true.
The 24-hour rule, definitely you want to make sure that you maintain that 24-hour rule. But yeah, a broke clock is right twice a day, Dr. Cavil. Alabama A&M can get one because all it takes is, your field and being off just a little bit. You got a set of umpires out there, and the umpire decides he wants to squeeze the strike zone for one game. Anything crazy could happen, and Alabama A&M can sneak one in. I don't expect it to happen, but it's baseball.
That's true. Good stuff. Last thing I'll say as we close it up, Alabama State, Jackson State, that is on SWAC TV. Alabama A&M Bethune-Cookman is also on SWAC TV. Those games in Jackson, Mississippi, Daytona Beach, Florida, respectively. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Today we had the great one, A.D. Drew. We want to ask for his autograph, but don't tell anybody. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday as we closed another week. 8:03 as we got over that 800 mark. Sunday on 9 when you get back to the football season. Remember, we will do that as well. We look forward to next week, though, as we show up on Tuesday. Next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattacavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Drew.
Lecture.
Dismiss.
Drop a light, everybody.